We live, everyone. How are y'all doing? We are 6 minutes late. Technical difficulties. Internet is off and on. You probably even see us a little glitchy, and we're probably little delayed. However, we are here. Hopefully, you all can hear us and see us. Hi. So, for those who are new to our broadcast, my name is Tika Scarborough. I am the CEO of Power Pro Assistant. Power Pro Assistant is your one-stop shop to virtual assistant services. The services that we provide is executive admin services, systems build out and maintenance, technical services, and social media marketing. So those are the services that we do provide. And we're going to just talk about some of those things, some of the tasks that you can outsource to a virtual assistant or a virtual assistant agency like us that specialize in different areas that I just called out a few moments ago. So, some of the tasks that we're going to be discussing is you may not even know what to delegate to a virtual assistant, and that's okay that you don't know because you're a busy business owner and you have so many things that's going on up in your head, so many things that's you're working on in your business. And we want to take the busyness out of your business so that you can focus on your zone of genius. So some of the tasks that we're going to talk about, we're going to break it down just a little bit. We're going to try to keep this live a half hour, and each one of us will discuss a little bit about what you can delegate to a virtual assistant, and then some examples of how that will look like. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is email management, email and calendar management, right? I think that's one of the biggest thing. Maybe not so much depending on the industry you're in, the calendar management, because we do got softwares and tools that like coaches and authors and speakers can just kind of like send you a link to schedule that call, and it checks for conflicts on your calendar so nothing won't double book you. But when you are in like a nonprofit or a small corporation that you're constantly getting emails and and your assistant have to reach out to, other team members or partners, members of the board, whatever that may look like in your business, and you need someone to look at your calendar and your email on a daily basis. And that's what we do. So your email can be as much as 40,000 emails in there, and you have not, and it's overwhelming because you have not set up anything in this in your email to efficiently receive certain things, remove things, delete things, unsubscribe, and all that stuff. So I am going to hand it over to Cora, and she's going to talk about maybe some small tips that you can use today to kind of help you with that. But we know that for the long term, that's not your zone of genius, but she could probably provide some quick tips for you today if you do have a lot of email and it's becoming uncontrollable. So she's going to talk about and organizing, and maybe filter and organizing your inbox. Cora,
Hi,
introduce yourself and let us know.
everyone. Hi, I'm Cora Williams. I am Power Pros project manager as well as the support team. And that's kind of one of my areas is email management. I think it's one of those things that we all have to use it, but none of us want to clean it out. And I will tell you, I am 100% guilty of it myself. And I think what I've learned is we subscribe to pretty much everything. Everything takes the email. And I didn't realize when I was subscribing to all these wonderful yet annoying subscriptions that it was going to flood my email as quickly. So, one of the quick things I did is I have a subscription label, and that's where most, if not all, of the junk mail, because you never really want to call it junk, that's where it goes. And so at the end of the week, I shuffle a quick shuffle, and if it's not something I use, I delete it. Another wonderful, amazing tool that I've learned is Unroll Me, which I didn't realize I was gonna love it as much as I love it because it does half of the work for you, small business, you ain't got time to be up in all those emails. What it'll do is it'll take a lot of your emails for the week and it'll archive them for you, and it'll send you a little message with all the emails so you can kind of go through them and see which ones you want, and then you can delete them all at once. So that actually saved me a lot of the time, not only in mine but in a lot of my clients emails, because you subscribe to Canva doesn't just give you your bill, it's going to give you all their tips and tricks, and some of them you may save and some of them you may not. But I think for me the biggest tip I've definitely learned is using my labels in my filters. So before I filter anything, I create a label. And I tend to have three major ones. It's always in operations because your business has operations. You kind of know that. There's always a filter label, a finance label, because you got bills. You're gonna be paying something and you need to keep track of those records. And I actually in my finance have a it's every year I have one. So at the end of 2022, it'll go in under the archive, but I can keep track of all my expenditure that I've done. And then I have my resource, because there are some good nuggets that you get and you or that email that you really, really like and you kind of want to copy or mock. Yeah, I said it. And so you go back and you take those nuggets and you want to keep it. And then the rest of them, you're just gonna hire us to clean it out because you're not gonna fiddle with the rest of it. And then you get to set your filters, which allows for either you to direct see it, or you can kind of hide it. And then on Fridays, which is my admin day, I go through and I'm like, okay, let me look at all the newsletters for the week. But it keeps me productive, but not spending so much time in my inbox. But it lets me also still see the actions that I need that's going to help me still make money in my business. So keep it simple.
Thank you, Cora. So, Jasmine, I know that you do a little bit of email management, maybe not heavy, but for those like, for example, some of the industry that we work with, what are some of the things that you do with the email marketing? Because some people may not need the heavy email management. It may be some just certain things that you need to take from it to in order for you to do the task or recurring tasks in the business.
Okay, hi. I'm Jasmine. I'm the executive virtual assistant for Power Pro Assistants. I'm also a moderator. Um, so some of the things that I do for email management is I filter through and retrieve updates. So I'm in the insurance industry and there's multiple different clients and there's a lot of moving pieces. So I have to keep track of what comes in, what goes out, and be able to provide those updates at the end of the week or the beginning of the week. That's when we do it. Um, I also send out updates to clients. So I would draft those emails up and I'll get them out for their weekly updates regarding the insurance companies and communicate back and forth. So I don't do much of the filtering and organization like Cora does, although I need to definitely got to get that done. But I do it in a different way. I go through and I pick out what it is that I needed. Also, meeting invitation. So when a meeting invitation comes in, I take that meeting invitation, adjust it, add the Zoom link, and make sure it gets to the client in the accurate manner. So I hope.
Thank you, Jazzy. Um,
Were you muted, Tikwa? I think you were muted.
okay, like I said, it's delayed and something is going on. Every time I click on mute, it mutes me back and mute me on. So, Casey, if you want to step in and talk a little bit about email management, I know that you do a heavy lifting of email management and what that looked like for someone who is constantly getting maybe 100 or more emails per day. And how do you manage that?
Yeah, so I would say a lot of our clients that come on, like email and calendar management, like Cora had mentioned, is probably the main administrative task that just about everybody has, and that there's a lot of, and that nobody wants to do. So I actually have a client that probably gets 100 plus emails per day. So going in and filtering out what is junk mail, or what can be put into a folder for read later, what can be unread, like what the client's preference is, whether or not that's something that they do keep an eye out for, and what they don't, as well as scanning the emails for any action items that is needed from the client, and adding it to a task list, and kind of sending reminders, making sure that those action items are being submitted, and that they make it like top attention and mark them as priority so that things get done. Because I think email would, safe to say, is probably still the main source of communication. We like using Slack for instant messaging, so that gets us a little out of the email. However, I don't see email going away anytime soon. It's still used for everything, like main source of communication, where you have to sign up for accounts, any email marketing, anything like that. So having a system in place to organize it is really important. And a way that you can do that is you can go into your settings and set rules. So if there is an email that comes from a certain email address or user, you can create a categorized folder to where in the settings it automatically gets sent to that folder. And then it'll highlight it, show that you have something unread, so that you can check it when you want to see it, opposed to it flooding your inbox.
Thank you, Casey. So those things are very important. So that is one of the tasks that you can delegate to a virtual assistant to manage your email and your calendar, and also organize it in a way that is going to fit your lifestyle. And then you can also have your virtual assistant maintain it going forward once it's organized. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is automations. Automation is very important. I think it's like the number one thing that we need to have in our business. During busy seasons, if you don't have systems in place, you're basically working double and triple because you're doing all the manual work. Now, everything doesn't have to be automated, but there are things that you could put in place in your business so that a lot of time is not spent on certain things. So like, for example, if you have recurrent tasks, or there is certain emails that go out to clients on a recurrent basis or based off of whatever they're sending an email for, you can create automations in your email actually, and have those templates created in the email. So if your VA is responding, she can go into that template on what that response is to that particular email and click on that template, and it's already in the email. And all she has to do is just address it to the person and send it out. It may need a little bit of customization based off of the information, but for the most part, it's already done. There's other templates that you can, other things that you can use templates for as well. Templates for training, right? Having templates in place for letters, for there's templates for social media, certain tasks, certain content that you put on social media. There's templates that you can create. There's workflows. Workflows are very important. It's just when you put in a workflow, you think about it. People say, well, what is a workflow, or how can I do a workflow? I don't know how to do a workflow, but it's something that you do every single day, but you're just automating it and putting it in that order so that you're not manually doing that. So for example, we have the Candlely scheduling tool, right, in place. If you have an automatic email going out, that scheduling tool is already in there for that template, for that your client to schedule a call with you. If it's a private coaching call or it's a book appointment and things like that. Marketing emails. What is that? Maybe it's a motivational email that goes out on Monday. That's a template that is created, right? That your VA can automatically put that in there. You can have a conversation with your virtual assistant. What do you want to go out on Monday? What you want to go out on Wednesday? What you want to go on Friday? And create those workflows for you as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Casey, who is our system specialist, and she puts those workflows together in systems, and also can take your manual and put them into create a system for that as well. So Casey.
Yeah, so Calendly is actually a really good tool to start with. So like we previously mentioned, email and calendar management is top of the list and really what every business needs and requires. So I always suggest to start with Calendly as a small business owner, because if you don't require someone to review your emails for action items, or you have a lot of custom requests coming in, and it really is just someone needing to book a meeting with you, then like Tikwa mentioned, you can have those templates in place. So if you have an incoming inquiry that comes in via email, you can apply that template. Like she mentioned, you have the Calendly link attached within the template. They book there. It's automatically set up. It cross-checks your calendar for any conflicts. And it also allows the potential client or, the attendee to choose the time that works best for them. So it eliminates a lot of that back and forth, and it really streamlines the process. And Calendly has also added a lot of updated features like routing forms, polling options, and a way that you can do a one-off meeting. So I know a lot of people use the method of placing holds on the calendar and going back and forth and waiting for someone to reply to take that hold off and send the official invite. Well, Calendly has a feature that you can do a one-off meeting, and it does that for you, and it automates the system so that when they book, it removes the holds from your calendar. So that's always my first suggestion, to get yourself a little out of the email, take the stress off on the booking, anything going overlooked, or not doing it right, or maybe it conflicts with something else. And so this eliminates those issues or those conflicts. And then any other workflows or systems within your business. An example would be like a CRM tool, which would be client relationship management. And that also helps manage your leads. So if you wanted to get fully out of that email, for the most part anyway, I won't say fully, but if you want to get even more out of the inbox, you can set up templates and workflows and everything within your CRM. And so when you come in, it automatically triggers a process to send certain templates, certain links. And then there, say you have a discovery call or a consultation call, and after that, you can manually trigger to start the second phase within the automation, depending on whether or not that potential lead is moving forward or not. So systems, it's endless what you can do with automations and integrating other systems together as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is booking appointments. Even though we touched on that a little bit with the Calendly link and also with the email, the calendar management, but you do have businesses that don't use these systems, right? That we have to, within the business, we have to schedule. With partners or clients, we have to reach out to them. So that's just like working in a corporation where you got to pick up the phone and you have to call the other assistant and you have to work out mutual time. And sometimes we have to put a hold on the calendar and then check with somebody else and see if they're available at that time. It's a lot of back and forth. So even though you're hiring a VA and you may have some automations in place, some business that does not work. So you need someone who's going to be in your email and really manage your calendar by rescheduling and booking and making sure that the people are attending the meeting and just keeping an eye on who's accepting, who's the key person in that needs to be at that meeting. So you need someone to keep an eye on that, so that when you're at a meeting and you only have 2 people and you know that you need 4 people on that call, your virtual assistant is going to make sure that these key people are on the call with you for that particular meeting. Also, we want to talk about calls and follow-ups. And we all know in any business, whether it's business, personal, follow-ups are so important, right? And this is something that is needed in the business. So making those calls, like light calls, you may not have a virtual assistant that will actually be on the phone 20, during the hours of 9 to 5, because you're only hiring your virtual assistant for a certain amount of time. Now, if you could find a company that do those calls for you or stay at the phone. But when you're hiring a VA, you're hiring them for the amount of time needed to do the admin stuff. And there may be some light calls that they will have to make. However, not something that is in a lot of time from maybe like 9 to 12. You probably won't find a virtual assistant that's going to sit there and do that. Okay. So just doing some light follow-up and calls for you is important as well. And those are things that you can outsource to a virtual assistant or virtual assistant team if you have a big team as well to support your team members. You have information requests, information that is requested that you need that you can outsource to a virtual assistant as well. Client outreach is a big thing. I know we do that in our business, and we have Jasmine who do the leads and the client outreach. And I'm pretty sure, and I know that other business owners need that as well. And sometimes that personal touch, that personal phone call, rather than email or using automatic, because automation is powerful and wonderful, and it saves you time. But at the same time, you still want that person-to-person touch. People don't want everything automated. You still want your business to reach out to clients as well. And I know that this is what we try to do, is try to keep that client to client management touch, where we get on a Zoom call or we get on a phone call, schedule call, so that, you get heard as well and have other things in place. So Jasmine, let's talk about some of the outreach that you can do for a client outreach. Some of the things that you will put in place as like a workflow to help a client with client outreach.
So what I do is I create a spreadsheet to keep track of the clients that I'm reaching out to. Usually when I'm doing client outreach, the numbers are large, 100 and above. So it's difficult to keep track of the ones you actually spoke to, the ones that denied, the ones that approved. So that data sheet, it helps me keep everything in one place. Um, Now, when I touch base with these clients, is pretty much the goal of getting them scheduled and getting them to have a conversation with, the person that I work for, and get them situated and set up for whatever it is that they need. However, it's not that easy. So having that system in place and being able to keep track of the ones that I speak to and follow up with the ones that seem interested or the ones that ask for callbacks are, good, because it's the follow-ups. The money is in the follow-ups. So you got to follow up. You have to find just that person-to-person contact, and having that personal connection with someone is just helps out a little bit. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Thank you. So far, the few things that you can outsource to a virtual assistant or virtual assistant agency like us is email and calendar management, which is going to filter and you're going to organize. Also, putting your automations. If you don't have automation in place, you definitely need to put that in place. We also can research some of those CRMs that is best for your company, and also build it out for you. So it's much easier, takes out, gives you a lot more time. And then also you have more time to do other things. Not to say that it's going to solve all of your problems, because there's still some things that need some manual work, but at least it knocks some of that time off your plate of you doing manual work in your business, and you can focus on making money, client leads, or talking to more clients, right? We talked about book appointments, where sometimes those softwares is not it's not beneficial for your business, you need someone to actually get on the phone and really get into your calendar and talk to people to get people on these meetings, scheduling and rescheduling. And then we talked about calls and follow-ups. And one of the main things were client outreach, right? That Jasmine just mentioned as well. So let's talk about file management. There are different systems that you can use for file management. One of the biggies is Google Drive. So everybody uses, I'm not going to say everybody, okay, but most entrepreneurs do use the Google Drive. And there are other storage files that you can use, like um, Dropbox, and there's something else. SharePoint for Microsoft users.
OneDrive.
OneDrive, exactly. So these are all things that are virtual. You can outsource managing your file management systems. Now, I'm not gonna lie, mine needs some work. So this is why I have Cora, who is going to get me organized. So I am going to give that over to Cora, and she can give you some tips on how to manage that and how we can help you manage your file system as well.
So your file management system is similar to your inbox. They make you money. As if they're organized, when it's time for your assistant to go look for your media kit, they know exactly where to go. I always recommend to my clients to organize their file management as if they would organize something in their office, meaning that if you have a file name that says media kit, you need to explain what it is. Don't assume that whoever you have is going to know, because they're going to be putting resources in there, and you want to be able to effectively have those resources in it. So similar to my inbox, my file management is pretty much the same. I have my key files, I have my operations, and inside my operations, I break it down to the CEO hub, where this is pretty much, you know, my business documents, my license, any important source of paperwork that I need. I break it down to, this is where I keep my ideas. So when I do a brain dump for the business around this time of the year, I stuff all those ideas in there, and I get to go back and pull them. And then, of course, you always have financials. So financials, pretty much all my receipts go in there. And then I also, Forever Learning, I have a resource. Now, you're a business owner, so you're going to have a support, because you may not want everybody in all of your different files. So this is why they're different files, so you can give access to the areas that they need. And so in the support, you may have, this is where the social media is, this is where your branding colors are, this is where your logos is, this is where the paragraph about you and about your business, that's where all of that is housed. So when it's time for you to do an interview, they already have that step for you, because your VA knew exactly where to go. So your file management not only saves you time, but it helps you be more efficient. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, it gets messy, just like a normal everyday file cabinet, but that's why you have somebody that comes and they can kind of help you clean it out. And it is a process. So I always ask my clients different questions to get their mind thinking of what is, like, what file. Just because I have organization, finance, and resource, you may name them something different, and that's 100% okay. But that's why we work together and we get it nice and organized for you.
Thank you, Cora. So if you are in need to get your file system organized, we definitely can help you with that as well. And that is something that you can outsource to a virtual assistant. The last thing that we want to talk about is database, and building a database for yourself for data entry or things like that. Updated monitor. So that's basically like, again, your CRM, and that's Casey's expertise, where we can build that CRM using the softwares that's out there, like Honeybugs, Dubsado, Monday, HubSpot, and all those different CRM systems that all put things into place for you and create those workflows so that it's all in one hub right? And you don't have all these different other softwares doing different other things. And then you have to get Zapier in place and all that stuff. So Casey is our expert into building out your system for you, where again, she does the research that will be best for your business. And that will be like a proposal that we will send to you once we have that conversation with you, to either build it out or monitor it, right? You're going to need someone to monitor that as well. There's some parts in the CRM that needs manual work. So like I said, automation is not going to be completely automated. It's going to be some parts in there where we're going to need approval from you, or it has to go to somebody else to look at it before it goes on to the next workflow within that system. So Casey will give us a brief overview of how that works.
Yeah, so like I had mentioned earlier, there can be somebody to kind of trigger that next phase of an automation. I'm sorry. I think there's a lag still. Sorry, guys. I think our internet's lagging today. So sorry, guys. There's so much going on behind the scenes. Bree's not here today, but she's got another blooper we're just going to make a series of bloopers, guys. It'll be great. So like I had mentioned earlier, within those workflows and systems automations, there are going to be like those manual aspects to it. And you can have somebody come in and kind of trigger that next phase of the automation, because it may be different depending on what the client wants to do. So if you have a potential client, if they want to move forward, then you would trigger a different automation than you would if they don't. So like if they don't, you may want to send like a thank you email with a little bit of information. If they do want to move forward, it may depend on the service they choose. And so you want to trigger the automation geared towards like what they chose. And so customizing that a little bit. For example, if you customize your proposals, that may be different per person. So you have like a fully automated system leading up to that. And then depending on where they want to go with it, you can kind of manually change that and trigger it depending on that information.
Okay. This lagging is the struggle is real. That's all I can say. But that's okay, because when you are live, anything could happen, right? Children coming in, interrupting, mute going on, unmute, all this stuff. Everything is lagging today. But that's
I lock my door and all I hear is like jiggling.
So the things that we talked about tonight, just to recap, some of those things that we talked about email management and calendar management that you can outsource to a virtual assistant, automations, booking appointments, manually booking appointments, calls and follow-ups, file management, and then the CRM, which is creating a system for you and your business as well. So those are some of the things that we that you can outsource to a virtual assistant or a virtual assistant team, just like us at Power Pro Assistants. We are equipped and specialized in systems, and we also have our signature services is executive admin assistant. So you're not just getting general, you're getting an executive who is going to be your client manager to our CEOs or managers in the business as well. So like I said, we're your one-stop shop virtual assistant agency. And I have put the booking link above this live or below on YouTube for you to book an appointment. It's a non-obligation consultation. It's a 30-minute free consultation that we can get to know you and your business, and you can get to know us, and you can ask us any questions. If you have any questions about any of the tasks that we talked about tonight, please put them in the chat. We'll definitely get back to you, or book an appointment with us and you can get on a live Zoom call with us, and you can access directly from there how we can help you in your business. So I am Tikwa Scarborough, Cora. Jazzy and Casey, and we are the ladies that make it happen for you so that you can operate in your zone of genius. And we are going to say good night, and we'll see you on our 4th live, which is next week, our last live for this year. And but again, you can always see us live by booking that appointment with that link above. All right, guys, have a blessed evening, and we see you next week.
Bye. Good night.